So 13 Reasons Why is certainly a phenomenon. How did you first hear about it?
I first heard about it actually just when they sent the info for the actual show, and then I went back and saw the book and everything. Kind of did some research and saw that there was a whole thriving kind of community and fan base around it. But it was literally just when the show got presented to me.
Okay. Did you have to audition, or like how did they bring the project to you?
They they showed me the first pilot, so I saw that.
Okay.
And just the general gist about what the show was going to be about in general. And then I went in for a meeting with Brian Yorkie, who was the showrunner. And yeah, we just hit it off and basically just, I think they probably, I would imagine, spoke to a handful of people. And then they just decided to ask me to come back.
Great. So I always like to ask about the process. Like, do you see a script? Do you see cuts? Like, walk me through like how you compose for the show.
Totally. So I do see scripts, and then this show in particular, they would send an episode, and it was pretty much the final episode. Like the editing was already done. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes there's editing that happens after the music goes in and all that kind of stuff. So they would basically send a script, and then an episode would come, and the music that was in there was just temp music, just other stuff they'd plopped in, and then a handful of the source songs, so like the actual licensed band-oriented songs, were the ones that were going to stick, and the other ones are just kind of temp music for a general thing. But a lot of it would just be Brian Yorkie and I communicating about whatever he wanted. Specifically, like sometimes the temp really wasn't what they were expecting or what they wanted. It was just kind of a placeholder, you know.
Okay.
We would kind of communicate about generally what we were thinking, and we just dive in and just see what would come out.
With the subject matter, was there anything you thought you might want to stay away or concentrate more on in terms of musical instruments? Or does it just all depend on story?
Yeah, it depended on the story. It was kind of it was a cool opportunity as a composer because 13 episodes and there was tapes, and each one was kind of dedicated to a character and a particular thing happening, which is really cool because it kind of was sectioned off, where I was able to bring in brand new flavors for a different episode. Which felt kind of cool, you know?
Yeah.
So I kind of created a general motif for Hannah, for the main character, and her theme kind of comes in really gently and subtly through other characters' themes. But sometimes I was able to go, very synthetic for a particular character and have that be that episode's kind of aesthetic, and the next one could shift too.
Okay, great.
So it's kind of just evolved as it went along.
Great. So maybe tell me about one or two of your favorite cues from the first season.
One of my favorite ones, I was actually really, really happy with Hannah's theme. That was one of the first things I wrote before I dove into working on the show. So I'd seen the pilot and then basically just tried to come up with some things. I basically started her theme as well as the 13 tapes theme. And hers I was really, really happy with. The tape thing I was really happy with, and also the thing that ended up coming out for Clay, which was, I want to say episode 11, I think it was.
Okay.
Might have been 12. Where it's just him in a car and it's a steady shot. Camera's kind of over here, just kind of beautiful, out of focus city lights behind him, and it's just kind of held on him for about 35, 40 seconds or so. I really loved scoring to that because it was just such a beautiful shot, and it was just him kind of taking in what was happening, that ended up weirdly enough being some awesome scene to score.
Great.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're allowed to talk about season 2, but when do you start working?
I start working in end of August.
Okay.
Yeah.
And have you seen anything yet, like any scripts, or have you talked to?
Nope.
Okay.
I haven't talked to anybody and I have no idea. Yeah, I'm gonna probably.
Like I have no information for you.
Yeah, actually, no. Probably the beginning of August is when I'm gonna link with Brian and get a sense of what's happening.
Okay.
Yeah, but
okay,
I know I trust him. And
yeah.
I have a sense of where it's gonna go just based on the plot from the last season and kind of where it was going.
Okay.
But as of right now, it's all guessing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, are you working on anything else right now that you can talk about?
Yeah, I'm also scoring the show called Billions on Showtime.
Oh yeah.
So I'm basically just doing those two right now.
Okay.
I'm working on, so basically my history is my own stuff under Eskmo, so like touring and albums and all that kind of stuff.
Now, do you have time for that right now, or are you really focused on composing, or is it important you to do both?
It's important to do both.
Okay.
I can't help it.
Okay.
I mean, right now, got engaged and got a house, so I don't.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I'm kind of literally right now been pretty busy,
Right.
but overall, it's definitely super important for me to keep on continuing to do that side of myself,
Sure.
and hopefully to have both of them kind of support each other,
Okay, good.
because I can really go into crazy self-indulgent directions with my own stuff
Okay.
that you can't necessarily do on the
Right.
scoring side.
Now, with a show like Billions, um, is it a different kind of challenge because it's a very different show than 13 Reasons? Or, like, what's your process for that show?
Same kind of thing. I see the scripts, and it's not the final edit, so there
Okay.
definitely is editing that happens after I already start writing, put the music in.
Okay.
It's different in the sense that 13 Reasons Why we were able to go super theme oriented.
Okay.
So I could get very themey, for lack of a better, I don't know what the right word would be, but
I love it.
for the characters. And in Billions, it's less so. They want me to mainly focus on the main characters
Okay.
and not have the whole cast around them have their own aesthetics. It's mainly just about them.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of a testosterone
Yeah.
kind of show, and it's also super textural and a bit darker. This one I was able to go, there's piano and there's strings and there's also some super gentle, emotive kind of stuff. For some reason, Billions ended up being very textural, electronic-y oriented stuff, and then 13 Reasons Why kind of covers a wider ground but more theme oriented.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, like, I think this is a bigger picture question, but, like, what made you want to do music in the first place, and how did you find this path?
I wanted to do it since I was younger. When I was 15, I was introduced to this band called Primus, which was like an old, them and then The Prodigy, who ended up getting huge and stuff, but at the time they weren't that big in '95. And I kind of opened my ideas to the idea of bass being one of the main instruments, and yeah, throughout high school and stuff, I just knew I wanted to. I didn't go to school or any training and stuff. I just basically kept on doing my Eskmo thing, because I started Eskmo in '99.
Okay.
As a high school graduation thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then what made you transition over to composing for TV?
Well, I'm part of a group called the Echo Society, which is a group of composers in LA. We basically do performances of orchestral electronic music. And we've done a handful of those shows together. We'll have like a 40-piece orchestra with a choir and combine electronic stuff in different venues and everything. And we started that in 2013. That really influenced an album that I put out in 2015 of my own stuff.
Okay.
And because that was more cinematic, the showrunner for Billions heard that on NPR,
nice.
and then got in touch and just asked if I'd be interested in scoring. And I was like, yes, totally, I'd be happy to, and just had to kind of scramble and learn how to do it. Kind of just fell into it.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
good.
Yeah, I'm really grateful for him for taking a chance on somebody that hadn't done it before.
Good. Now, is there a show out there now that you would also love to score for? Or is there a certain type of show that you would like to do next?
I would love to do film.
Okay.
Show-wise, just anything that's thought-provoking, and I would love to. I feel like Billions and 13 Reasons Why are such different beasts in themselves.
Yeah.
I would love to do something completely different. I'd love to do sci-fi.
Okay.
I would love to do fantasy stuff.
Great.
Even a kind of beautiful documentary would be cool.